Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm sharing a story that's deeply personal, one that completely reshaped my understanding of love, trust, and self-respect. It's about my relationship with Lauren and the painful discovery that led to its end. I'm telling this not for sympathy, but because I believe someone out there might be going through something similar and needs to hear they're not alone. Our story, Lauren's and mine, felt like a modern fairy tale at first. We met through mutual friends at a local art festival. The connection was instant. Talked for hours, sharing dreams, fears, and silly jokes. She had this laugh that could light up a room, and I was completely captivated. Within a few months, we were inseparable. We built a life together, piece by piece. We adopted a rescue dog, Leo, who became our little furry shadow. We spent weekends hiking in the mountains and evenings cooking elaborate meals, dancing in the kitchen. Our apartment wasn't just a place to live. It was a home filled with memories, inside jokes, and promises for the future. I thought I had found my person, the one I'd build a family with. We talked about marriage, about the kind of house we'd buy, about growing old together. For 3 years, it felt like we were a team, navigating life's ups and downs side by side. I trusted her with my whole heart, without a single doubt. The first crack in our perfect world appeared subtly. It started with small changes in her behavior that I initially dismissed. She began working late more often, citing new projects at her firm. The late-night calls she used to make to say goodnight became less frequent. When we were together, she seemed distant, her phone always face down on the table or clutched tightly in her hand. I tried to talk to her about it, asking if everything was okay at work or if she was feeling stressed. She'd always have a plausible explanation. "It's just a demanding client," she'd say, or "I'm just exhausted, Matt." I wanted to believe her. I loved her, and trust was the foundation of our relationship. So I pushed my doubts aside, telling myself I was being insecure or overthinking things. But the feeling in my gut, that cold, unsettling knot of anxiety, just wouldn't go away. It was like a constant low hum in the background of our life, a warning sign I desperately tried to ignore. The moment of truth arrived on a Tuesday evening, a day I'll never forget. Lauren had told me she was going out for a girls' night with her colleagues. I was home, trying to finish some work, but my mind kept wandering. That gnawing feeling was stronger than ever. Around 2 p.m., my phone buzzed. It was a message from a number I didn't recognize. The text was simple and brutal. A photo. It was a picture of Lauren, not with her girlfriends, but with another man. They were at a candlelit table in a restaurant I knew, the one we'd celebrated our first anniversary at. In the photo, she was leaning in close, his hand on hers, laughing that same laugh that once made my heart soar. My world just stopped. The air left my lungs. I stared at the screen, my hands shaking, my mind refusing to process what my eyes were seeing. Denial, shock, and a wave of nausea washed over me. It wasn't real. It couldn't be. This wasn't my Lauren, but another message followed from the same number. "You deserve to know." The sender was the man's wife. In that instant, everything shattered. The life we built, the future we planned, it all felt like a lie. I spent the rest of the night pacing the apartment, a storm of emotions raging inside me. Anger, betrayal, heartbreak, it was overwhelming. When Lauren came home just after midnight, humming a cheerful tune, she found me sitting in the dark. The look on her face when she saw mine told me everything. The cheerful facade dropped, replaced by panic. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I just held up my phone and showed her the picture. The silence that followed was deafening. There were no more excuses, no more plausible deniability. The truth was out, ugly and undeniable. She tried to explain, to apologize, talking about how it just happened and that it didn't mean anything. But the words were hollow. The trust, the very core of our relationship, had been irrevocably broken.
Ow.
Could it mean nothing? Every late night, every distant look, every unanswered question suddenly made a sickening kind of sense. For the next few days, I was in a daze. I felt like a ghost in my own home. Every corner held a memory that was now tainted. The mug she drank her morning coffee from, the blanket we cuddled under on the couch, the photos on the wall, they were all painful reminders of a love I thought was real. I moved into the guest room, needing space to think, to breathe. Lauren pleaded with me, crying, begging for another chance. She promised it was a mistake and that it would never happen again. A part of me, the part that still loved her, wanted to believe her. It wanted to rewind time, to erase the last few days and go back to the way things were. But I knew I couldn't. A relationship without trust is just an empty shell. Staying would mean a life of suspicion, of constantly looking over my shoulder, of wondering if every late night at work was another lie. I couldn't live like that. I deserved more than that. I had to respect myself enough to walk away, no matter how much it hurt. The hardest part was realizing that I had to end things not out of anger or revenge, but for my own well-being. I deserved a partner I could trust completely. So I made a plan. I needed to take back control of my life, to end this on my own terms. I calmly told Lauren my decision. I explained that while I might one day forgive her for my own peace of mind, I could never forget. The trust was gone, and without it, there was no us. I told her I would be moving out. It was the most difficult conversation of my life. Seeing the pain in her eyes was hard, but I had to stay strong for myself. I packed my things box by box, each one feeling like a piece of my heart being sealed away. I said goodbye to Leo, our dog, which was gut-wrenching. I made sure he was going to be well cared for. Leaving that apartment, closing the door on that chapter of my life, was both heartbreaking and liberating. It was the end of us, but it was the beginning of me finding myself again. The weeks that followed were tough. There were days I could barely get out of bed, overwhelmed by a sense of loss. The loneliness was crushing. But slowly, with the support of my friends and family, I started to heal. I threw myself into my hobbies, started running again, joined a gym, and reconnected with old friends I'd lost touch with. I focused on my work and found a new sense of purpose. I went to therapy, which was a game changer. It gave me a safe space to process the anger and the grief, to understand that her actions were a reflection of her, not a measure of my worth. It taught me that it's okay to be sad, but it's not okay to let someone else's mistake define your future. Healing isn't a straight line. There are good days and bad days. But with each passing day, the pain lessened, replaced by a growing sense of peace and strength. Today, it's been over a year since I walked out that door. I've built a new life for myself, one that is authentically mine. I'm happier and more confident than I've been in a long time. I learned a brutal but valuable lesson. You can't control other people's actions, but you can control how you react. You can choose to let betrayal destroy you, or you can use it as a catalyst for growth. I chose growth. I chose myself. To anyone watching this who might be in a similar situation, please know this. Your pain is valid, but it doesn't have to be your forever. You have the strength to walk away from what's breaking you. Prioritize your peace and your self-respect above all else. The road to healing is long, but it is so worth it. You deserve a love that is honest and a partner who respects you. Don't ever settle for less. Thank you so much for listening to my story. It wasn't easy to share, but I hope it can offer some perspective or strength to someone who needs it. If you've been through something similar, feel free to share your experience in the comments below. Let's support each other. Remember to take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.